Everybody needs somebody. If you saw this week's episode of Samurai Jack, you're gonna get that one. What's up, everybody? It's DJ, and I just saw the new episode of Samurai Jack this week. And yeah, the fandom's in a bit of a rage. I mean, okay, the fandom is split in half from what I can see. A lot of people are really happy, a lot of people are really pissed. Without giving too much away at the beginning, a lot of shit happens in this episode, and but there's one major thing that happens in this episode that I think a lot of people saw coming, whether they want to accept it or not. And personally, I've always been somebody who sees, like, if they throw something at you, I can take it if it's done very, very well. And in my opinion, this was done very, very well. Like, it was building up throughout the entire series. And again, Samurai Jack specializes in doing things without no words or dialogue, so it's done very well through the storytelling of the animation. It's really done. It's really well done. It's being done. Of course it's done. Only 2 more episodes left, guys. Shit! It's all coming to a head finally. But yeah, basically, a lot of stuff happened in this episode. But basically, the episode starts off with, in space, where there's like an intergalactic prison, I suppose. It gets hit by a meteor and crashes into Earth. And Jack and Ashi get stuck in a sandstorm, and they get trapped in this prison. And a monster's chasing them, and basically they have to try and escape it with their lives. I'm gonna say it right now. This episode was lovingly awkward. Without giving too much away, it is lovingly awkward to say the least. Oh man, I mean it's cute, but like you can tell because neither of these two characters have been through this thing before. Neither Jack nor Ashi. I mean, okay, technically you can argue Jack has been through this sort of thing in the past, and that kind of shit. But he never went this far with it. It was never this far or anything like that. Yeah, people are probably wondering, did it happen? Like, it finally happened, huh? Yeah, it finally happened, and, I guess, there's not much to talk about unless I spoil it, because the whole episode's a spoiler at this point. But, at the same time, we're episode 8 in this episode 10 series, so, basically, yeah. I'm spoiling the episode right now. Your only warning. Jack and Ashley finally fucking get together. Yep, the whole episode is them being awkward, being cute. Basically all leading up to the final scene where they finally make out and they finally, they're finally together, finally. And again, like I said, I think everybody saw this part coming in some small way. Like, before this episode aired, I always kind of felt like, yeah, they're gonna hook up. I can just see it right now. They're going to hook up. They're having all these cute moments together. They're gonna hook up. It makes perfect sense. I don't know. I mean, I understand why Ashi's falling in love with Jack. And I guess Jack, I see where he's coming from too, because he's been alone for this whole time. Ashi did help pull him out of his depression, and Jack did help save her from the cult and stuff like that. It does make sense why they're falling in love with each other. So, and again, a lot of this is told with no dialogue, so it's very well done. Like, you don't need like a 10-page dialogue cloud or something like that to have a romance be developed. No, all you need is some good animation, a good story, and a good way to get these two characters together. And again, I know so many people are gonna hate this because, like, relationships and romance are very looked down upon in modern day culture, especially in animation, both television and movies. Like, especially like with Disney and stuff. Like, how when Disney makes a movie and stuff, they're like, oh god, there's gonna be a romance, isn't there? I'm like, sure. I'm like, maybe. I mean, if there's no romance, then fine. But if there is a romance, I mean, I know some people will roll their eyes and think, oh, good, another fucking romance. But, like, personally, I've always been one that's like, if it's done very well, I'm not going to care. Like, if the romance between these two characters is done so well, and they're developed really well, then I'm not going to complain. Like, it's so well done. I mean, I get where people are coming from. They don't want to see this stupid cliche anymore. I get it. But I don't really think it's a stupid cliche. It's a part of storytelling in general. Not just with animation, but with story in general. Having a really interesting romance is a very good... It really does add something to the story if it's done very well. Now, I know there's always romances that are just thrown together because, oh, it's a boy and a girl, and they have to get together. Now, that's stupid. But that's not this. In this episode, no. Like I said, we've seen these two characters build themselves up the whole season, like all the way up to this point. So when you see these two together, it's not forced whatsoever. You feel like they've really earned this together. They really earned their romance. It feels really well developed. Like Ashi's been in one place and now she's in a new place. Jack was in a bad place and now he's in this place. It makes perfect sense for them to get together. They totally work together in my opinion. They work very well together. They're a great team, and yeah, they rely on each other all the time. It makes perfect sense for them to fall in love. Again, I know some people say, oh, well, they should have been a father-daughter relationship, or maybe just good friends. Sure, I mean, if that's what the story was going to go with, then I would have accepted that too. Like I said, I wasn't expecting anything. I mean, okay, I was kind of expecting a romance, but but if that's not what I got, then I'd be fine with it too. You know, but I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with a romance. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't care if there's a romance in the story or not. I mean, if it works, it works. If they don't want to do the romance, then I'm perfectly fine with that too. Alright, I'm judging this story for what it is, and for what it is, and for what the romance is, I think it's really well done. It was well developed, these characters are well developed, and I think they earned the romance. That's all I'm saying. Am I saying I wanted it? No, but I'm glad I have it. That's all I'm trying to say. Alright, so anything else aside from the romance? Aside from that, this was a pretty typical episode. We have, there's actually one funny thing in the beginning of the episode where Jack eats some shrimp, I guess. I don't know if it's just shrimp or something. And he turns into a fish very briefly. It's kind of funny. And he offers some to Ashley. He's like, you want some? She's like, no, I'm good. Thank you. It's kind of funny. And there's a fight scene in the beginning of the episode where they're fighting these tiger bandits. And they're all wearing, like, letters on their shirts. And it always, like, does super comic, like, some really comic book stuff. Like, you know, like an old-fashioned Batman stuff, like Adam West Batman, like whenever Adam would punch a bad guy, you'd see that comic book pop out that says, like, pow or kaboom or something, I don't know, something like that, and all that kind of stuff. That is, like, that's what the words would pop on the shirt. Like Jack noticed it as soon as it said stuff like, die, Samurai Jack. In the beginning, he's like, Ashi, we're not alone. And there's even a scene where he swings a sword and everyone's like, whoa! And the shirt actually spells the word whoa. I thought that was really funny. Very funny, indeed. But yeah, so the monster is actually really cool. The monster is a leech-based monster. It's like thousands of little leeches coming together to form this monster. I guess there's one sentient being, but at the same time the leeches are kind of all sentient themselves. I guess. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but basically it's a bunch of leeches coming together to form one super beast. And Ashi is stripped naked in this episode. I know it's a weird thing to bring up, but it's really a funny scene where Ashley's fighting naked, and Jack's like, "Oh, you're naked," and Ashley's like, "So?" And then it makes you think, like, wait, Ashley's been naked this whole time for the most part. Like, well, from the episode, well, because she was covered in the blackness and stuff. That wasn't a suit. That was just her skin. It's like she's like, I've been naked. It really makes you think, like, yeah, she's been naked for a while, dude. You're just now figuring that out. It's nothing new to her. Like, she even points out, she's like, so? Who cares? And then Jack's like, oh, well. It's like, well, you can see. It's really funny. It's like the way they just like, okay. It is pretty fucking funny in my opinion. It was very funny. Yeah, this was definitely an episode played more for laughs than it is for the action. I mean, it has its serious moments, but it's definitely an episode played more for laughs, in my opinion, because it knows the relationship between Jack and Ashi is very, like, they're definitely building something up, and neither of these characters really know what to do because they're not really used to dealing with romance and girls and boys and all that kind of stuff. Ashi especially, because she's grew up in a cult her whole life, never even seen the outside world whatsoever. Makes perfect sense. Jack, he's had lady trouble before, once, with someone who pretended to be a lady. Still, very good episode that episode was. Very old episode. That was a good episode, too. Like, the older one I'm talking about. That was, like, the first time Jack lost in the series. Like, it actually showed, like, Jack won't win every time. I thought that was really something in the back when I was a kid. But, yeah, nowadays it's, you're expecting a bunch of different stuff, and I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have any expectations, but I'm glad where this episode went to. I'm glad the direction this episode went to. And it ends with some really weird jazz music when they finally kiss and shit. It's kind of fun. It's really funny. It works. It's funny. It's cute. It's funny in my opinion. I like it. Yeah. So basically that's this episode. Basically, Jack and Ashi got together, had a lot of awkward banter, fought a leech monster. Got some tigers with cool writing on it, and Ashley was naked. So take that for what it's worth. There's only 2 more episodes, guys. 2 more episodes. 2 more episodes, guys. And the next episode is where things are going to fucking come to a head. I can already tell you that much. I can already see next week's episode ending on like a cliffhanger before finally being wrapped up in the last episode. I know I'm going to cry in the last episode. I know that is for fucking sure. I'm going to cry so fucking hard at the end of the final episode. I'm probably going to make like a big long 30-minute video based on the final episode. I don't know. We'll have to see in only 2 weeks, guys. Shit. But yeah, I guess that's the end of this video. So, thank you guys so much for watching, guys. And as always, I'll see you next week. So, stay awesome, guys. Rock on.